It is 8:12 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. It is the 29th day of July, 2026, and this is episode 1362 of Bitcoin. And it's going to be a little bit of a shorter show this morning. I got a couple of things that I got to go do, but there is news today. Yesterday was a kind of a slow news day, so it was a good day to bring you part 6 of the Cathedral series, and if you listened to that, I hope you enjoyed it. If you found it confusing or if there were problems with it, please don't hesitate to tell me so. You can do that either through a Boostagram, find me on X. I think it's at David Bennett, N as in Nunya and B as in Bidness, or on Nostr. If you know me on Nostr, you can get to me there. And hey, if you've got some complaints or anything about the Cathedral 6, let me know. Because, unless you tell me, I'm not a mind reader, right? Not a mind reader. I can't do that. But I got about 6 stories to tell you today. Telegram founder Pavel Durov is in trouble in Russia, which is not good. This is not going to be good. Michael Saylor is talking about code being a constitution. Yeah, I know. I get it. But Dubai, the Emirates airline, looks like it's adding Bitcoin payments to the way that you can get an airplane ticket. Second part of show, Apple is getting sued because of a wallet. Finally, somebody has got the balls to go up against, one of the largest companies on the planet. MoonPay, they're letting users move money through ChatGPT. Now, they have a lot of shit coins involved, but MoonPay has been around for a very long time, does include Bitcoin, and this whole agentic AI payments thing, we got to keep an eye on it. So I'm bringing you the MoonPay story. And then another person in Trump's administration is, being accused of a Kalshi bet. But you're going to be surprised at who it is, because it's not, I guarantee you, it is not who you think it is. But let's get back to Pavel. Telegram founder Pavel Durov is now internationally a wanted man, according to Russia's FSB. Cointelegraph, hell in parts. Russian authorities have placed Telegram founder Pavel Durov on an international wanted list as they escalate a criminal case accusing him of facilitating, you guessed it, terrorist activities. Russia's Federal Security Service, the FSB, said on Wednesday that it has charged Durov with facilitating terrorist activity and issued an international warrant for his arrest, according to local news agency Interfax. Interfax did not identify a specific wanted list cited by the FSB. A check on Wednesday morning of Interpol's public database of wanted persons, or red notices, did not find Durov among the records. The FSB alleged that Telegram failed to remove channels, chats, and bots that Ukrainian intelligence services, terrorist groups, and extremist organizations use to coordinate attacks, recruit operatives, and conduct some kind of cyber fraud. The development follows reports in February that Russian authorities had indeed opened a criminal case against Durov, and at the time, Durov confirmed the case in a post on X and accused Russian authorities of using the investigation to pressure Telegram, writing, quote, "Each day, the authorities fabricate new pretexts to restrict Russians' access to Telegram as they seek to suppress the right to privacy and free speech," end quote. Separately, Durov still faces an ongoing criminal investigation in frickin' France over alleged illegal activity on Telegram, although French authorities lifted travel restrictions earlier this year that allowed him to leave the country. Let's get back up here to this particular paragraph. Interfax did not identify a specific wanted list cited by the FSB at a check on Wednesday morning of Interpol's public database of wanted persons did not find Durov among the records. This is what I was wondering about when I first saw this article. The way that the world is operating right now, it would not surprise me that Interpol or any international agency is going to give one rat's ass about Russia wanting Pavel Durov, absconded with and taken back to Russia to stand trial. I don't think Interpol cares. It's clearly not, because he's not on their list. But I mean, it just strikes me as odd that, like, what if, like, for instance, and this all boils down to the fact that Russia is hated because of Ukraine, and it doesn't matter what we think about it. Russia is still one of the largest and more powerful countries on the planet, and we're just going to ignore that they want Pavel Durov. Personally, I think it's bullshit. I think Pavel Durov doesn't need to be, taken away. I don't think he needs to be returned to Russia. Russia can go F itself at that point about that. But what if Russia had issued a red notice on somebody who you really don't want walking around the streets? I mean, an actual freaking criminal, like a really bad person. Somebody who's a murderer, a real terrorist, an actual terrorist, somebody that builds a bomb and puts it in a building and explodes it and kills like 5,000 people or something like that. I mean, somebody who is a real bad person. Would we ignore that notice if that person had only operated in Russia and had never gone outside of Russia? Would Interpol put that person on the list, or are we completely ignoring Russia, even though it's possible that they may put out a red notice on somebody who no country wants within their borders? That's sort of the question that I'm getting at. Have we become so narrative driven that we would literally just disregard our own safety and the safety of all nations on the planet because we just refuse to listen to anything Russia has to say because of Ukraine? I find it fascinating because that's a real possibility. It's not like there's some, all Russian citizens are just great people. I'm sure most of them are, but like any citizenry on the planet, you're going to have some really terrible people. But, because Ukraine, we don't care. Even though, you get what I'm saying. I think it's kind of trashy to just completely ignore a country at least the size of Russia, just because we don't agree with what happens if Interpol just starts ignoring the United States for all the countries that we have a tendency to drop bombs on? It's just, everything is so out of balance and out of whack. It's no wonder we have people like Michael Saylor walking around saying that Bitcoin code is a constitution and any changes are attacks on economic rights. This coming from Michael Saylor, who still has yet to give the world a real reason to buy a product from Strategy. I mean, all he's got is these AI constructed financial instruments. It's just, it's amazing that people are listening to this guy at this level. He's not a developer, not for Bitcoin anyway. But anyway, Jose Antonio Lons has this one from Decrypt. Michael Saylor isn't fighting BIP 110 anymore. No. He's fighting the very idea that Bitcoin's code can be changed. The Strategy executive chairman posted a 9-post thread to X on Tuesday that reframes the entire protocol debate as a constitutional crisis. Quote, Bitcoin has won. Now it must survive victory, Saylor wrote on X. Quote, its gravest threat is not an enemy at the gates, but corruption from within. Factions that invent pretexts, rewrite the rules, and seize economic rights until freedom becomes permission and law becomes loot. End quote. Saylor has been attacking a BIP, or rather the BIP 110 specifically, the reduced data temporary soft fork proposal that would restrict non-financial data, like ordinals inscriptions from Bitcoin's blockchain for around 1 year. Last week, Saylor posted a 110-point essay opposing it under the title, 110 Reasons BIP 110 is a Bad Idea. Based on the current status of the proposal, his point of view seems to have prevailed. Now Saylor lumped BIP 110 together with covenants, smart contract style restrictions that would let users pre-program how their Bitcoin can be spent in the future, and larger block proposals which call for increasing how much data fits in each block to process more transactions. His verdict on all of them, different ideas, different ideas, same crime. Good God. Quote, some proposals like BIP 110 censor valid fee-paying transactions. Others add covenant machinery. Others demand larger blocks. Different instruments, same constitutional offense. A faction rewrites Bitcoin's rules and imposes an agenda, costs, and risks on everyone, end quote. The constitutional metaphor is doing some work. Bitcoin's consensus rules, the shared set of rules all nodes and miners agree on to determine what counts as a valid transaction, it's the functional equivalent of a country's founding law, at least in Saylor's framing. Rewrite them for any faction's ideological preferences, he argues, and you're not just updating software. You're confiscating people's economic rights. Quote, Bitcoin's consensus rules are its constitution. To rewrite them for the convenience of any faction is to attack the economic rights of every participant today and every generation to come. Protocol changes must be rare, conservative, and driven by necessity, not ambition. Defend Bitcoin's constitution. Defend the future, he wrote. BIP 110's principal advocate is its pseudonymous author, Dathon Ohm, with longtime Bitcoin developer Luke Dasher being a key participant in the writing of the original draft. The proposal is supported primarily by a relatively small anti-spam constituency around Bitcoin knots and node operators who believe Bitcoin should remain focused on peer-to-peer money rather than becoming a permanent storage layer for things like ordinals and tokens and images and any other arbitrary data. The argument is that miners collect a one-time fee for including those payloads, while every full node operator has to bear the long-term storage, bandwidth, and validation costs. From their perspective, this is not censorship per se, but more a protection of scarce public resources. BIP 110's mandatory signaling window, the point at which nodes running the proposal's software begins rejecting non-compliant blocks, opens sometime around August the 9th at block 961.632. Miner support sits at 2.6%, according to the BIP 110 signaling dashboard, well short of the 55% required for activation. And let's see if I can get, it's actually dropped now. The signaling rate is now 1.97%. I don't see this happening. I just don't see this happening. But Circle P is open for business. The Circle P is part of the show where I showcase plebs like you with goods and services to other plebs just like you who want to buy those goods and services, but you will be buying into Bitcoin, because if you're not selling into Bitcoin, you're not in the Circle P. oshigood.us, OSHIGOOD.us, oshigood.us. He sells something called HODL butter, and I've had it, and it's gorgeous. He also sells cocoa banana hodl bars. He sells maple syrup hodl butter. He sells a version of hodl butter, which is like, it's basically, think of peanut butter, except instead of peanuts, it starts with pecans. But he's got a version of it that uses Bitcoin beans chocolate. I mean, this guy's forming relationships with all kinds of people. One of the very first products that I ever tried from him, other than the hodl butter, was the mint cookie hodl bar. This thing is freaking out of this world, guys. It is out of this world. But the hodl butter, let me just tell you a little bit more about the hodl butter. It starts with locally sourced pecans straight from the Southeast USA. It's got not just pecans, but he's got maple sugar, not maple syrup, maple sugar, right? You remember Christmas when you were a kid? And maybe even if you're, young now, maybe your parents, have in recent times for Christmas, you find these things called maple sugar candy. And oh my God, it's like your pancreas will definitely kill you if you eat one of those all by itself. But when you mix it in with ground up pecans and sea salt flakes, along with a little bit of cinnamon and black pepper, you've got something really, really special. Hodl butter. There's only 5 jars of this stuff left at the present time. Go to oshigood.us. That's oshigood.us. And make sure you use the code Bitcoin and. You're probably not going to get a discount, just some pleb solidarity there, right? And it also lets Oshi know that I made a sale for him here on the Circle P, and he gets to value that sale. And if it's valuable to him, he will throw me some Satoshis on the other side. That's how the Circle P works. There's no contracts. It's just a digital handshake between me trying to support other plebs with those other plebs. Because without the circular economy, what the hell are we even doing? This is a way for us to be able to value other people that have products in this community and buy from them directly in Bitcoin. And you can do so at oshigood.us. Make sure you use the code Bitcoin and. Dubai-based Emirates airline adds Bitcoin payments. And this is Matthew DeSalvo writing for Bitcoin Magazine. People can now pay with Bitcoin to buy flights from Emirates Airlines. Working with Crypto.com, Emirates said Tuesday the customers now have the option to book flights using the crypto exchange's payment feature. Crypto.com and Emirates last year announced that they would work together. Emirates Deputy President and Chief Commercial Officer Adnan Kazim said the move reflects the rapidly evolving preferences of a younger, digitally fluent generation who manage their money and plan their journeys primarily from their phones, and they expect the airlines they fly to keep pace. Emirates first teased plans back in 2022 to implement Bitcoin payments. The latest move allows Crypto.com customers to use any digital assets to make payments, so they went full shitcoin. But hey, it is what it is. Under the new setup, travelers with a Crypto.com account can select Crypto.com Pay at checkout when booking on Emirates.com or through the Emirates app. The option is limited for now to eligible UAE residents making bookings priced and settled in Emirati dirham. I think that's how you pronounce their money. But anyway, the integration runs through Crypto.com's Dubai licensed entity, which the company says was the first virtual asset service provider to receive a stored value facilities license from the central bank of the UAE. The launch also feeds into wider government targets. It supports Dubai's cashless strategy, part of the D33 economic agenda, which is aiming to make 90% of all transactions across the Emirates government and private sectors digital by the end of 2026. It follows on from an earlier Emirates partnership with Dubai Finance to advance digital payments and comes after Crypto.com struck its own deal with Dubai Finance to accept digital payments for government services. Yeah, the fact that you have to have a Crypto.com account to be able to do this it makes it where nobody, I mean, there's going to be very, very few people that I think actually take part of this, because when you put the other restriction on that it's limited to just the UAE, at least for the time being, how many UAE citizens have a crypto.com account that need to fly Emirates Airlines? I mean, you've really bottlenecked yourself on this whole thing. So I don't know what they're thinking. They should just be able, you should just be able to go to Emirates Airlines and pay with a Lightning invoice, or, or an on-chain transaction from anywhere in the world, anywhere that you can get on an Emirates Airlines flight. I don't understand the bottlenecking here, but I'm not in charge of the company. Oh, let's run the numbers. CNBC, futures and commodities, shit's blowing up back in Iran because I guess Iran launched a quote-unquote sneak attack against a U.S. airbase sometime yesterday. Brent North Sea is up almost 8 points, back to $90.73 a barrel. West Texas Intermediate is up 7 1/3 points to 85.07. Natural gas in the green by 2/3 of a point, $2.67 per 1,000 cubic feet. Gasoline is up 1.6% to $3.38 a gallon, while Murban crude is up 2 1/4 to $86 a barrel. Metals are all in the red. Palladium is down over 2 points. Gold is down 3/4 of a point to just over $4,000 an ounce. Platinum is down almost 2 points. Silver is down 0.5 to $57.23, and copper is down 0.8%. Ag is all in the red except for our only winner, which is in the green, and that would be wheat, up 1/3 of a point. The biggest loser today is soybeans, down just over 2 points. Live cattle is up 1%, but lean hogs are down 1.1%. Feeder cattle are up 0.83. Meanwhile, the indices reflecting that nobody likes what the hell's going on in Iran. S&P is down 0.8%. The NASDAQ is down 1.2%, although that has more to do with the Asian chip sector rout that started occurring right as the markets opened after the weekend. The Dow is down 1.5 points, and the S&P Mini is down 1 1/4. Meanwhile, we've got Bitcoin at $63,990 a coin. That's a $1.28 trillion market cap. We can get 15.9 ounces of our favorite shiny metal rock with our one Bitcoin, of which there are 20,062,657.39 of. Fees per block are low, 0.02 Bitcoin taken in fees on a per block basis. There's about 45 blocks carrying 86,000 unconfirmed transactions waiting to clear at high priority rates of 1 sat per VByte. Low priorities get you in at half that. 872 exahashes per second is the current hash rate of the blockchain, or the Bitcoin network. Sorry about that. That's fine with me. People are still lamenting that we're not in the zettahash territory anymore. So what? We spent most of Bitcoin's existence under 500 exahashes per second. I'm not sure why everybody's crying. Anyway, from yesterday's episode of Bitcoin and titled Cathedral 6, The Carbon Group. I don't think anybody liked it except for Nostr Gang. He's the only guy that gave me a boost. 101 sats. So, sad puppy face. And yeah, if you're not careful, I'm going to go out and go clubbing. Yeah, clubbing. Baby seals. That's the weather report. Welcome to part 2 of the news that you can use. Apple is getting sued after fake iPhone wallet app drained $1.8 million in Bitcoin. Stephen Graves writing this one for Decrypt. 3 Bitcoin holders have sued Apple over a counterfeit Sparrow wallet app that they say drained a combined $1.8 million. The complaint, filed July 24th in the Northern District of California, brings 8 counts, including fraud and negligent representation, as well as strict products liability issues to the fore. Each plaintiff entered a seed phrase into the app according to the filing. James Ramirez lost 7.4 Bitcoin. Oh, God. Christopher Ellis lost $840,000 worth. And Jalen Delgado, 1.05 Bitcoin put at $120,000 was lost. Sparrow Wallet runs only on Windows, Mac OS, and Linux. Sparrow Wallet has never once shipped an iOS version. So any App Store listing under that name is an impersonation. Ramirez reported the app in his loss to Apple on July the 25th, 2025. That was the day it happened. He had downloaded a Sparrow app from the store 9 days later. No one from Apple has contacted Ramirez about the report, the complaint says, and fraudulent Sparrow apps were still listed when it was filed. The filing also alleges, on information and belief, that Apple ranked the fake app and included it in curated cryptocurrency collections, effectively recommending a fraudulent application to consumers alongside legitimate ones. Craig Raw, who built Sparrow Wallet and holds the U.S. trademark on the name, has flagged copycat malware on Apple's App Store since January of 2024, when he tweeted that a scam version was still live weeks after being reported. He later stated that he had submitted an App Store listing whose only purpose was to tell iOS users that Sparrow is desktop only. Apple rejected it as placeholder content and then flagged his developer account for termination over dishonest activity, a decision reversed on appeal. Apple declined to comment on the lawsuit to TechCrunch, instead pointing to its latest ecosystem analysis, which found that it rejected more than 371,000 malicious App Store submissions. The firm noted that there are currently no Sparrow Wallet copycats on the App Store. Count number 7 of the lawsuit asked the court to treat the App Store as a product placed into the stream of commerce, which would expose Apple to strict liability for failing to warn people. The complaint argues Apple's contrary disclaimers sit buried deep within click-through terms. I did not know that Craig Raw was almost deleted from the App Store as a developer simply because he did everything that he could to warn people that Sparrow Wallet is desktop only. There are no mobile versions of Sparrow Wallet. Man, at this point, you cannot play with these people with your entire Bitcoin holdings. You got to get a hardware wallet. You got to get something like a BitBox 02 or a Cold Card or something and keep literally the majority of all your Bitcoin on that. If you want to play around with a wallet that you download off the Apple's App Store, then put $60 worth of Bitcoin on it. But, even then, I don't want to lose $60. I'm not using a mobile Bitcoin wallet. I'm just not. The one thing that I use as a wallet on my phone is a connection to my Albi Go, which I run Albi on my node, which is connected directly to my Lightning network, right? Because I run a Lightning node on my. Okay, I got a Start 9. I run a Bitcoin full node. I run a Lightning node, and I run Albi. Albi is connected directly to my Lightning instance. So it's my money that I keep in my Lightning instance. And then mobily, I've connected the Albi Go app on my iPhone to my instance of Albi on my Start 9, which is connected to my Lightning instance. So when I know what I'm connected to with Albi Go. If you haven't used Albi Go, I kind of recommend that you at least look into it, okay? Now, on to MoonPay, which has launched PayBox, an AI payment vault for ChatGPT and Claude. This is out of theblock.co. MoonPay has launched PayBox, an AI payment vault that lets users connect OpenAI's ChatGPT and Anthropic's Claude to make payments directly from a conversation. Users connect PayBox to ChatGPT or Claude through a custom connector, allowing the AI assistant to prepare transactions such as booking flights, making restaurant reservations, or just shopping online. The artificial intelligence prepares the transaction while the users approve it with a passkey before funds move. Users can also choose an autonomous mode that allows the AI to complete transactions within limits that they set. MoonPay Labs chief engineer Niraj Prasad told the Block that PayBox combines crypto wallets and payment cards in a non-custodial vault that users connect directly to ChatGPT or Claude. It supports transactions across blockchains and DeFi applications and services built on the X402 agent payment standard without requiring users to hand over custody of their funds or use developer tools. PayBox can make payments to any service that accepts X402. Current integrations include restaurant reservations through agentres.dev, shopping through perch.xyz, and flight bookings through brij.fi. Originally developed by Coinbase, X402 is now governed by the Linux Foundation and backed by more than 20 organizations, including AWS, Cloudflare, Visa, MasterCard, Stripe, Shopify, and Anthropic. According to MoonPay, no party, including the company or the AI assistant itself, can independently access a user's funds or credentials. PayBox launches with support for Solana and Ethereum virtual machine compatible blockchains, including Ethereum, Hyperliquid, Tempo, Base, Robinhood Chain, Arbitrum, and Polygon, with additional networks planned. Oh God, they didn't even include Bitcoin. Holy crap, man. What is... And they don't even have support for the Lightning Network. See, the shitcoiners will always be with us. They're never going away. I hate it. I can't stand it. Anyway, Prasad said support for additional AI platforms is expected next month. MoonPay also plans to expand PayBox further into decentralized finance, or DeFi, by adding support for token swaps, perpetual futures trading, and liquidity management under the same user-defined approval rules within the next month, Prasad added. That's, they lost me when they didn't include Bitcoin. At this point, this is just ridiculous not to be looking at eCash, Fedimint, Lightning Network, and main chain Bitcoin transactions. I just don't understand people at this point. Anyway, last up for the day. Told you it was going to be short. Trump teleprompter operator has been accused over Kalshi bets and leaves the government. Cointelegraph Johan Yoon writing, a White House teleprompter operator accused of using inside knowledge to profit from prediction market bets on President Donald Trump's speeches no longer works for the federal government. A White House official said on Tuesday that Gabriel Perez, who had been placed on unpaid leave earlier this month, is no longer employed by the federal government, but it also declined to, say whether he resigned or whether he was fired. Perez was accused of using non-public information to make more than $100,000 betting on Kalshi prediction markets tied to Trump's speeches, according to an earlier ABC News report. Kalshi's surveillance team detected the suspicious trading activity and referred the matter to the U.S. Commodity Futures Trading Commission. The platform prohibits users from trading on information obtained through their employment. I told you shit like this was going to happen with Kalshi. It does not matter where in the administration someone sits. This guy was as low on the freaking totem pole as you can teleprompter for the president, clearly has some kind of security clearance because he's within physical proximity of the president. So not exactly the lowest man on the totem pole, but not exactly somebody who's going to be, in the war room issuing policy suggestions. All right. This is the teleprompter dude. And even this guy was had a way to make money on Kalshi. Think of it this way. Secret Service guys. I guarantee you I guarantee you there are bets on Kalshi about maybe the operational configuration of how they surround the president. How many Secret Service agents would be around the president during his, I don't know, next outing? And as a Secret Service agent, if you were assigned to a team of 7, let's say, and you just decided to, I don't know, just not show up for work that day because you got $1 million bet on Kalshi that there was only going to be 6 Secret Service agents around the president. It doesn't matter. I mean, it's like even the guy emptying the freaking White House trash is going to be able to make a bet on Kalshi. It's never going to stop. Their guys are never going to be able to stop this. Anyway, that's the show, and I got to go. I will see you on the other side. This has been Bitcoin and I'm your host, David Bennett. I hope you enjoyed today's episode and hope to see you again real soon. Have a great day.